This past January, I attended the 2018 Women's March in downtown Ann Arbor, Michigan. I went with my parents, who are Caucasian, and we had all come dressed up with our sign and our pussy hats to show our support. As we walked towards the rally, a middle-aged white man approached me and began speaking Chinese. And I take Chinese at school, so I did understand him. He said, 你好，女孩子，你会说中文吗? Hello, little girl, do you speak Chinese? Now, I've been in situations like this before, and I did what I do most of the time, where I just shake my head no and walk away. For a bit, I thought nothing of this encounter because I'm used to things like this happening. However, reflecting on it, I've become more uncomfortable with the assumptions that this man made and many other people have made about me. Hi, I'm Josie, I'm 17, and I'm a Chinese adoptee. Let's break down the moment I just described. Me, a female teenage Chinese American who is surrounded by mainly white people, is approached by a white male who looked to be in his mid-50s and assumed that I spoke Chinese. There's a lot to be said about this moment. I mean, I could talk about it from an overall female perspective. I mean, think about it, an old white dude approaching a teenage girl. However, instead, let me share this human experience as uniquely being an Asian adoptee. From discussing with other adoptees, both international and domestic, the first thing that society teaches us to feel is that we were somehow unwanted by our birth families and by our native countries, especially for those of us adopted at very young ages. In my case, I was adopted from China in 2001 at 1 year old. Growing up, people have often made me feel ostracized simply by imagining China to be this place full of communists and baby killers. And then they look at me as being a victim of such image. In 7th grade history class, I recall studying China and its government, and when my teacher began discussing the one-child policy, I swear I could feel all of my classmates' eyes on me. It is this feeling of expectation and the need to explain myself that I receive everywhere I go. We as a society expect and assume too much about the people around us. When I walk outside, I more often than not am seen as a foreigner. Even though I've been a US citizen for 16 years, even though America is the only country I call home, and even though English is my first language, because believe it or not, Chinese is my third tongue. I also speak French. Je parle un peu français. But it is these things that people never see when they look at me. Growing up in the world today, it's becoming more common to ask people how they identify, which I think is extremely important. By doing this, we are broadening our horizons and our understanding of diversity. I hope that one day a little Asian girl will be able to walk into her class and not automatically be labeled as nerdy, as the perfect student. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I want her to know that she doesn't have to pursue the stereotypes that have been instilled by the people around her. I think people ask me why my birth parents gave me up. And though I will never truly know the answer, I would like to think that they had hoped that I would get a chance to have a better life. The gap between men and women in China is huge, and women are still very low on the social ladder. But I don't live in China. I live in America where everyone is created equal. I live in America where I can be loud and vocal about my opinions. I don't have to be the obedient daughter or wife. I think the thing that people assume the most is that as an adoptee, I'm searching for answers. This is both true and false. Just in this past year, I've made some decisions about delving into my past. I decided to take a DNA test, and my parents and I have agreed that it's time for me to travel to China. I'm not doing this because I need a remedy to my problems. I'm not even doing this to find my birth family. I'm doing this to understand the land, the culture, and the people, because the majority of my knowledge comes from assumptions. That being said, not all adoptees are ready to take these steps, which is totally fine. One of my best friends, who is also a Chinese adoptee, has no interest in her heritage. Now, this may change as she gets older and she may be more open to talking about it, but for now, she simply brushes off the stereotypes and the expectations. She just wants to be any other American teenager. And I understand this feeling. It's awkward enough trying to navigate puberty as a normal teenager, but even more so when people stare at my parents and I when we're out in public, or approach me to ask questions about where I come from, and I tell them I'm American. Especially for international adoptees, it's difficult trying to find your place in terms of your identity. I struggle to find the balance of being Asian and being American, and I know nothing about my background or my history. But what I do know is that I can be anything or anyone that I want to be. I'm a blank slate. That's the beauty of being adopted at such a young age. No one should experience having labels predetermined for them. In America, I choose who I want to be. I'm a feminist, student, creative, visionary, the list goes on. But I'm a female Chinese American teenage adoptee. There's no sticker on me that says made in China, even though I am. So, to the man who asked me if I spoke Chinese, I would say, 你好，我叫 Josie， 我是中国美国人，我说中文因为想成为了解是公民，然后了解整个世界。I said, hi, my name is Josie. I'm Chinese American, and I speak Chinese because I want to be a global citizen and understand the world. Thank you.